the connection is iffy. So if you are in the chat, go ahead and like the video. I'm live. I'm telling y'all, it has been an eventful morning. Um, some of y'all have already picked up on additional signs, right? Go ahead and like the video if you can hear me. Uh, you've already picked up on additional signs of confrontation and things about to escalate, right? Now, there's several examples of past life drama playing out. Now, in one of these podcasts I addressed, right, having a situation where I got into a confrontation with someone, right, as an adolescent. It was like middle school or something. Middle school. Now these is the known bullies, right? I'm quiet, I'm laid back. So it's always, the ones that is loud and boisterous is usually the D class, the Mun, Demon, and Demon, or a fraction, their lineage. Those is the ones that it could go either way, right? Those are the ones that's known for being the aggressors, you know, typically, usually, right? And it's because of their makeup. That's how God created them, right? Go ahead and like the video. The reason why it's important is because there was a confrontation. It was multiple, just in the last hour and a half, okay? Multiple pull ups, multiple things happening. And I'm sure that those that are out and about that may see this later can say they bore witness to something, including neighbors and things of that sort, because of the energy. But not just that, it is the closing somewhere else in another place. Interesting enough, y'all, I did a podcast in this type of form. It was January 19th, right? January 19th. Th- that still says that it's uploaded because of the information that was in there. It did not get displayed, and I completely forgot about it. And it is important because some of y'all feel like y'all gonna get a notification that I'm live, and you're not. And there's multiple reasons pertaining to that. Now, it's always the ones that come in and they see zero or they see three. The live that you are inquiring about has 190 views currently that I can see, but that's not it in its totality. There is a belief that the system is malfunctioning, and I'm saying that you're completely right, but it has everything to do with assignments. Now, I know for a fact that a lot of people got into altercations. There's going to be more to come. Now, the ones that's going to end up in altercations is different fractions of angels. It's going to be a mixture of those that know that they're angels, and a mixture, and the other portions is those that don't know that they're angels or don't know what type of angel they are. But it's going to be a confrontation, and the D class is the one that kicked it off because those are the ones that is bold enough to confront a bully. Those are going to be the ones that is going to come back and say, now it is the time. Orphanums, cherubim, which is cherubs, they're not built like that. They don't want confrontation. So it's going to play out if it's not going to be within your immediate environment is going to be, and your children's, your cousins, or something is going to, because it's the energy that got to play out, because it's the closing. Now the thing about the other types of beings that have contracts that are in the midst of closing contracts, like ONJs, like conks and things of that sort, and others, right? SVJs, NSVJs, ONJs. It's so many that I gotta make sure that I go through. The ones that I have addressed to the public means that it is final. Whatever is set to happen is going to happen because of the instruction that was given that some did not do. Anytime God tells you to do something and you do the opposite, that means you're a candidate for an upheaval, a major one. Because some feel like they have partnerships and contracts with other worldly beings and that they're somehow going to benefit. What I did not address with the ONJ experience as well as the conch experience, you will go into a contract if you are ONJ in a conch. That means in one region you was created this, and then in another region you was created that. This is incarnation, reincarnation. This is the cycle here. When you are created an angel, you're always going to be an angel. This is why it plays out in the family dynamic, in the family dynamics of angels. And this is why, up until this point, if you were a black sheep, you were not heard of and you were not respected because everyone else benefited from your demise. This is how it's been playing out throughout time. So, what it looks like, that means if you got your foot in the door, say in the industry, right? You got your foot in the door, you know you got you a triple T. Y'all know what that is. You can write, you could edit, you know mix and all of this and everything else, right? You got the skills to pay the bills. You ascend however way or descend. Somebody else takes your place, your position in that universe, right? You don't know that you universe hopping. You don't know. This happens to you while you sleep. So they have your position, they go in your place under a different contract. Someone else that is already strategically placed there knows that energy, and guess what? They get your opportunity. But the key point is when they give a position to someone that they find out in the future is a past life enemy, all the cards that is held by that one person, the one that gives out all the opportunities. This is how the sequence of uh, debauchery plays out. Heresy plays out, not hierarchy. Heresy. When it's done to an angel, it's a drag. Let me tell you something. If the big G says, for instance, we're going to take out U3, Universe 3, Ultimate Universe 3. Everything in that universe is gone, and then it's replaced with another one. For instance, all right, we're going to take out all the beings on Mars. You won't know because you'll look in the sky and you still see a Mars. This is how it happens. Hopefully it will upload. But right now I'm not really seeing too much. And so that tells me I'm somewhere where, you know, there's some issues. Now, the ones with the devilish grins that mistakenly reveal that they are present. This is where I'm at, y'all. So if you're in the chat somewhere else, I don't see you. The ones with the devilish grin, these entities, spirits, and those with separated presence, They feel like they got one up on me, and eventually that they will encounter someone they can take life. We have examples of entertainers that are ONJs. It is completely diabolical when something enters into your body that didn't like you from a past life. And their one thing is to make sure that they desecrate it. Y'all know that that happens all the time. That means they're just running around reckless, sleeping with everything, participating in all kind of stuff, tarnishing your name, messing with your children in their sleep, trying to get them to do and it is pentagens that are aware that this is happening in their line by illegitimates. When you don't know how old your being is, it's a problem because that means, look, it's some place, right? Some of y'all, some of y'all are aware, right, that there's certain depictations of energy, black clouds, spiritual black clouds, not like from soot, smoke, whatever, but like entity spirit, black spirits. I know that in one of because I ascended high enough, I understand my past lives, right? When the ONJ, specifically the ONJ assignments and contracts got set, I was what you call a black entity. That means prior I had passed away. And because of where I passed away and came back, I came back as an entity. Most archangels do. Um, the reason why it's important is I was not in a body when the ONJ assignments got put out. There's certain type of energies that when cherubs encounter them, they can't even speak. I told y'all that I ran into that in the dream state. While I was awake and I was looking through the eyes of something that was summoned by the thing that was in there eating. It was a guy sitting there in a black room eating at the table, like cereal, oatmeal, grain, something like that, right? He summons whatever it was to him, not knowing that it would appear in his sleep. In this dream, he was awake sitting at a table in a black room, and there was an archangel on the roof, like something like not the roof like the house, but on the ceiling. My bad, on the ceiling. So when I appeared there, looking through this thing's eyes, it could not speak, it could not move, it could not chew. The archangel that was on the ceiling knew that this thing that had been summoned was in there. I told y'all about it. What happened was I got lifted up. I got pulled up. Now, what I imagine happened is he was attempting to pull whatever came into into that room up because now the archangel has two enemies. You got one in the room and one walking in a room. When stuff like that happen, they'll say they passed away in their sleep. It's a misconception that if you die in your sleep, that's a peaceful rest. Not necessarily. Some will pass over in the midst of surgery. Y'all do understand that, right? This is why they'll say there's a 50-50 chance once you go under this anesthesia or whatever percentage. Because when that is introduced into your chemical makeup, it could go either way. Because you get put into something deeper than a REM sleep. So I'm giving you the spiritual aspects to what some of us know as a physical aspect. Everything is spiritual. You don't know if that body can take it. I mean, of course they do tests, and this is why they give you that percentage because they know, hey, look, we did this research here, and it said this particular uh, demographic, everything is by nationality, right, and type, hemoglobin type, right. That's all based on that. But you know, these new ones, and remember, I talked about a breakthrough in medicine in one of these beginning of the year. I want to remind y'all of that because when you got crossbreeds, okay, that means it's going to be new things, new cures, new ailments because of the makeup of the body. What is comprised of that body, of that genetic code? So we know if you take this nationality and this nationality, the chances of a birth defect. If you take this gene pool and this gene pool, we know that there is a chance. And just like they say, when you got when you are women over 30, typically have more children that have not defects, mental disorders and things of that sort. That's not the case anymore because that was something that was a belief for my parents' generation. This is where they got this research from. That is not the case now. And one example is autistic children. They will say that they are being, and now you're seeing it in younger cases. When I first was introduced to the spectrum, I was pregnant. Remember, I told you I drove for Napa School District as a bus driver. And my assignment there was driving for autistic children. I had not ever encountered any autistic children before, and knowingly, my era is the era where they said the children had ADHD. So y'all keep that in mind. I didn't know, and there was, of course, there's other ones, but yeah, y'all know what because they're making a link with ADHD and the spectrum now. Okay, I don't follow any. Well, I mean, it may be, you know, some, but I'm not getting any reports every day and checking reports. Like my days are full of all kind of stuff, so that's not where I'm getting this information from. When I share these news channels. Sometimes I'm not even subscribed to them because it's a lot of people that feel like this is where I'm getting constant notifications all day long, and this is where I'm getting the information. From. No, like that's. I mean, I didn't share stuff from China, Australia. You know what I'm saying? And there's more to come because of who I am. If the big G, which is the Most High, the great I am, right? Universal life force source, God, if he said your assignment is bigger than this platform, then that means at some point you're going to be seen somewhere else and not necessarily know that you're being seen there. The point is there's signs that you've entered into a new region. I'm gonna stray away from certain words because the big G, it is a possibility that something, because I was talking about something not being uploaded, and I did not notice it until I tried to go live. That it was still from January 19th. The people that are scientific, right? I'm talking about the ones that want to believe, but they're looking for natural evidence. They're looking for systematic type of evidence. That means they want to believe, but they want to be able to prove it. Those are the ones I'm speaking to because there's a mixture of all different kind of economic statuses as well as careers. So uh, I'm thankful that of the others walk before I got here. That more than likely was a part of the angelic system because we wouldn't know of soulmates. We wouldn't know of twin flames. We wouldn't know of astrology. We wouldn't know of anything spiritual in nature if it wasn't for those that came before me that had a spiritual left hand path. Because to me, that's considered the left hand path. Remember, anything that is based on intelligence, you being a free thinker, you being able to point out things that would be logical if people notice them. That is considered the left hand path to me. Because under a structured doctrine, that means you're supposed to be open. You're not supposed to pay attention to the red flags. You're supposed to have faith in something that you cannot see and act on that while portraying to others that you are a believer of what? Science, if you're into Scientology. Does Scientology have a father? Yes, the great I am. Because I know those that consider themselves atheists know that they had to come from somewhere. This is where we get the Big Bang theory. The Big Bang. Okay, so something happened, and something happened, and we just all appear here. Somewhat. Now, the concept that we are all from these star systems that we are born in is a great, uh, what's the word? It's a great way to say, you know what, that explains the zodiac. It explains it. Why it's so much reference to it, why it is very important, and even structured systems. Well, you have an astrologist that says in March, this is going to happen. We have summer solstice, we have equinox, and this and that. That's all left hand path stuff. Some might not consider it because it's a staple now, but that's spiritual stuff. So, y'all gotta understand, just like I say, that things come in and out of our family members, our co-workers, our neighbors, us, depending on who you are, uh, out of our bodies, depending on what type of contract we have under God. You also have to understand that the original being exists somewhere, right? Aha. And I know that there is a lot of original beings that, if their body still remains, they want their body back. Yes, I have encountered them too. If you are a psychic and there's others that can pick up on it, you'll notice things at some time, at some point, right? You'll think you hear a relative. Well, I noticed their voice. You know, if you're at odds with someone, you're not going to be around them enough to be like, well, they're in the next room. You know what I'm saying? Um, when you have assignments like ONJ, NSVJ, some SBJs and others, we getting into that conks and you know, that means you've experienced a lot of different beings in that body. You didn't know that though, because to you it's one person because the body is still here. You have to understand what I'm saying, and this is where the confrontation came from. Okay, it's you angels is only going to be so nice, no matter if they D class, E class, cherub, orphanum, seraphim. They only gonna be so nice. Now, if you have the black sheep title, you are expected to be the one that is confrontational, but it's not so. Not for my era. We are the ones trying to keep the peace. So you are met with confrontation for several reasons. When someone say, "Look, woo 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 woo," and you like, "All right," is that all right? Is that part that people get leery of because the angel already, especially this is somebody that watched me, they already know the deal. We're into the phase now, y'all, because some of y'all understood the assignment. We're into the phase now where the original being wants to come back in their body. What happens when the original being enters into the body? They look more like themselves. Do they leave again? Yeah, sometimes they do. It's let me tell y'all about the Soul Train line. There was a Soul Train line that happened last night and this morning. I call it the Soul Train line because that's what it is. And I know that others experienced it because of who led the Soul Train line. Mama Bridget led the Soul Train line, and I know it was her. It was they did the little touch, the roll of the hand, the roll of the two fists around in a circle, and then pop one to the side, and then pop one to the other side. This is what they did going through. She was leading the line, and behind her was souls. These are all souls that want their body back. It is still a soul train line. Because some of y'all family members have experienced with other worldly beings that care for them deeply. Okay, they try their hardest to make sure they get to where they need to be. You understand what I'm saying? Things that you wouldn't expect to know who you are, to be on your side, to be on their side. It's like they're soul guards. There's so many other worldly beings trying to insert themselves in the soul train line for the purpose of them getting to their body because they have encountered them countless times. Imagine just being in complete darkness, talking with no body, no physical body, but a being talking to you. These are beings that have uh, different type of gifts. I don't always want to associate it with psychic because there's others that have um, telepathic communication skills. Okay, this is where you have so many variations of Claire. When I don't go into all of them, it is because of who is listening. These are people that want to hear something that they never heard before, go on a podcast, go on their platform and start talking about it. The reason why she has that is because she has a demonology book. So all of y'all are sitting there saying she has something new that Ether never talked about. No, you just didn't know that it's a genius. We're ancestors. You just didn't know that. There's other names that when you have demonology books, you come up with this stuff. That is why it's so dark like that. You would say that I channeled her before, and you're absolutely correct. I've channeled several things that have been inside that body. Um, some of you, you're OG like me. OLEG. So that means you know what the body looks like when it has been riddled with toxicity that we know as party favors. Y'all know what I'm talking about. You know what it looked like after years and years of that type of wear and tear, spiritually and physically. Now we don't see it as much. We know they own one, but they look healthy. The body is still healthy. They're able to eat, and the skin may be supple at times. They don't look like they're being worn down and wore out, and it is because of what is in that body and their makeup, their breeding. It's kind of like the new uh lap dogs that we got. You know, the ones that's they so cute, they so little, they they so cute, they so little, they look like a toy. Well, we know that that's not a part of the original line, but we accept them because they're cute. Same thing with people. It is man's way, man and women's way of playing the creator. You don't think so? And this is where a lot of our problems come from. When man and women decide, males and females decide that they want to play the role of God and create things. Well, we know with research that if you with certain breeds, they have certain things wrong with them. Like there's some that have breathing problems because their nose is stout. They can't breathe. They're prone to all type of illnesses because of their breeding. We know this is a fact because they say, well, this breed has a life expectancy, yada 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 yada. But the same with people. It's not a part. It's not meant to segregate. It's meant for you to understand why things are the way they are. It's time for accountability as a whole, as a collective. It's time for us to understand that we are the cause of our own problems. I mean, even the system understands that emission is the reason why there's so many, uh, why so much breathing problems. Even when it comes down to vegetation, because what goes up comes down, right? Some don't feel like that is a big issue. Well, it's not a big issue, you know. We have all this emission, we have all this fossil fuel and all of this stuff. Well, what does it do? What does it do? It escalates your genetics. That's what it does. So is it a big problem? Yes, indeed it is. Does that mean we're going to stop buying cars and working? No. That means we're going to go through a paradigm shift ascension. That's what it means. So now y'all get some of the reason why we go through these major shifts. And you hear concepts like new earth. I'm making it make sense for those that truly want to know why. Even if you don't have any children, even if you feel like you don't have any type of otherworldly issues and your relationship is fine and the person that you're married to is the same person that you're going to end up with, in the end. Then 10 years, down the line, we run across your glow up divorce video. Look at my glow up. Because after 20 years, you start thinking, hey, this is forever. You know what I'm saying? Then everybody on this side of the family can't stand you. Like you broke the pattern. We are known we're known for being together until we are no more, and you done broke it. Could you imagine that? You're like, I'm over here getting beat upside my head. I got all kind of issues with my core. My gas is astronomical because I'm not paying attention to my gut instincts. And you know, Here it is, you're mad with me because I broke the cycle. That's a that's an example of a past life frenemy. What do they know about you? You're over here miserable. You got some people that say, hey, look, yeah, to you, I have a perfect life. I got a job, I got money in my account, I got a home. I may or may not have a counterpart, but why am I miserable inside? Do those people count? What y'all think? The ones that don't sit back, that sit back and don't say nothing. Who I know has some sort of spiritualism going on is for me, the angels, and the God. I don't sell my soul. I'm not one that has ever sold my soul. You understand that? That's why I was the paradigm shift leader, one of them, because I don't do things like that. So, y'all, we're gonna see a lot of crash and burn. We're gonna see a lot of this is gonna be a problem. Before I tear up out of here expeditiously, y'all notice anything about tempos? Because I do. You see, when you're trying to tackle one problem and then you open the door to another one, it's like there's no respect. The respect factor is gone, and it kind of makes you feel like, right, that the only thing that people truly respect is fame, right? Who who name could be in the media every day, all day long? Because it's not a lot of money involved. It may be in the beginning, but at the end of it all, when you're sitting in them clank clanks, you know, you don't get to spend it. Somebody else do. So it's kind of like you done did all of that, burnt all of these bridges, and you still got spiritual ramifications. Of course, none of the people that don't like you is gonna know about your spiritual ramifications. You think, you believe, you hope, you hope. You know, there's things that I know about being an angel when you ascend to my level that the average person don't know. So I'm gonna say like this because some of us really have, right, people that we care for, and it's extra hurt. It's extra hurt when you don't have closure because there's a body right there. That means I know that what is inside this body is not the original, but the body is still there. So I don't get closure. Some of those beings want entrance back into their body, the original, the one that the parents created. Some of y'all gonna start to understand that some of the stuff that was in and out of your loved one really did like you, and some didn't. Because what'll happen is a version that doesn't like someone will end up being the original being. And they didn't have the pleasure of having another being come in, right? Y'all stick with me and play the role of their sister, their mother, their daughter, their whatever. And you'll say, oh, our relationship was perfect, right? That's the switch up, y'all. That's the switch up. That is it.